Now let's talk about my fourth guy now, and so this is going to give a little bit of nuggets for you. So one of the things I've gathered, and again, we'll find out when they report for spring if this is going to turn out being true. But I've been told by a couple sources now that there's a good chance that Notre Dame is going to give Myron Tungavaloa a look at strong side end this year, whether it's in a 3-down or a 4-down look, and that mean part of the reason is because there's a lot of confidence in those guys behind him to step in and do the job at 3 technique, and that would be Jayson Ademilola and Riley Mills. Plus, you have Howard Cross, you have Jacob Lacey, you have Gabriel Rubio shows up as a true freshman early enrollee. You've got Aiden Keanaaina at the nose. There's a lot of talent there. You're not as thin, or you're not as deep at end, especially with Ovi Agofu leaving, because there was a scenario in which I could have seen if Ovi would have come back where Ovi and Jordan Patelho could have handled that boundary outside linebacker / defensive end position, and you could have used Isaiah Foskey with Jayson Ademilola at strong side end. Right. I really would have liked that combination. But now, obviously, you can't do that because Ovi's gone and you don't have the depth at the drop spot. So, you're going to need more bodies because it's Jayson Ademilola and a lot of uncertainty, right? So you move Myron out there, and this is going to open up an opportunity for Jayson Ademilola to have a breakout year. I thought last year it was strange. He was used mostly as a run defender his first 2 years, and he graded out both years as Notre Dame's best run defender on a defensive tackle. Last year, he was used primarily as a pass rusher, and he was their best most productive pass rusher per snap.
Amazing.
Tackle. Well, now it's time for him to put it all together.
Right.
And number one is about the opportunity. And number two is he's got to stay on the field, because every time the last 2 years he was on the verge of really breaking out and getting more and more snaps, he's got banged up, and it's cost him games. It was late in year 19 and 20. So he's got to prove he can stay healthy. But if he does, I think he's got a chance to be a breakout player. And if for some reason he gets hurt and it doesn't happen, then I could see Riley Mills being that breakout player. But I think Jayson Ademilola has a chance to go from a rotation player to a standout, not just a starter that puts up, from a rotation player to a standout. I think he's hungry. I think the opportunity is going to be there. The key for him is he's got to stay on the field. If he can stay on the field, now that he's a senior, he's going to have that 4th year kind of grown man weight room strength. I think this is a guy that could be not just a good, do your job 3 technique, which is what Notre Dame's really had the last couple of years, just guys that just do your job. I think he's a guy that can be a difference maker, a playmaker, a 10-plus tackles for loss kind of guy. I think he has that kind of talent, and that's why for me, I have Jayson Ademilola as my 4th breakout player on the Notre Dame defense in 2021.
And I almost feel like he is one of those guys who – I've almost considered him as a starter up to this point, just because of the rotation and the way things have kind of gone. And you're right, he's had some trouble staying on the field for various reasons, but I've always considered him like a starter. And I agree with you about him being a breakout, because I think he's going to go from like that starter role to like the next level.
Yeah,
that's where I see Jayson Ademilola. And it's funny because I think you could have gone with Justin as well, because I think he's going to break out of his brother's shadow even more this year, because I think he's been stuck in that shadow, even though he's done really good things at Notre Dame. Yeah. And you and I notice it. I still think that even as a recruit, he was always in his brother's shadow. And I think this is the year he steps up and busts out. But I think Jayson has the opportunity to really take his game to the next level. I think people are really going to start to take notice of the interior of Notre Dame's defense, and it's going to be led by Jayson Ademilola. I think that's how good he can be.
Right, and Kurt Hinish was a grinder for Notre Dame last year. Sure. He's turned into a really good football player. Getting him back for a 5th year, I mean, he's literally going to play 5 full seasons at Notre Dame because of that rule. Is big for them, but he's just a do your job and make the occasional play. Jayson has a chance to be a legitimate difference maker, a Jerry Tillery type of difference maker. Different body types, different skill sets, but more of just that impact. You have to worry about him. If you try to single him with a guard, you're going to get beat. He's too athletic. His hand play is too good. So for me, I think he has a chance to be a breakout. And honestly, him and Isaiah Foskey are going to determine whether or not Notre Dame has just a good, solid defensive line this year, or once again has one of the game's best defensive lines, which they've had for stretches of the last 3 seasons. I think those two guys, to me, are the key. They are the guys with these star. Look, Myron Tagovailoa is a good football player. I don't think he ever is going to be a star, right? Kurt Hinish, same way. Jayson Ademilola could be just a really good. He has been a really good football player. Like, he's just going to get the job done. Jayson and Foskey, to me, have star talent.
Yes.
And they need them to become stars. And then if you can get Jordan Patelho stepping into the rotation as sort of that next drop to rotate to give Foskey a breather, you can use them in some pass rushing situations on opposite sides with Ademilola inside. You have a really athletic attacking defensive line. And then you throw Riley Mills in the mix to keep Jayson fresh. Those two guys are going to be standouts. And if Jayson doesn't take advantage of this opportunity, then Riley's going to take advantage of this opportunity. So I think there's a chance for this defensive line to be outstanding this year. But they do need at least one or two guys to step up and be stars. You can't just have four good players across the board. You're going to be good, but you're not going to be great in the big games. They need stars. They need guys to step up in the big games and take games over. And I think Foskey and Jayson Ademilola are the guys that can get that done.